Hello friends. I wanted to make this fun little video for you because even though I designed this shawl, I absolutely hate having to do a centered double decrease around a marker. I just hate how fussy it is. I hate having to slip 2 stitches, pull out the marker, knit the next stitch, finish the decrease, put the marker back on. It just is so irritating to me. And oftentimes I'll end up just not using the marker even though it's called for in a pattern because I hate doing it. But sometimes that's not a great idea because you need to know your stitch counts like before and after the marker, etc. And it's easy to get confused. So I came up with this fun little way to do the S2KP in coastal or in any pattern application where it calls for a centered double decrease around a marker without actually having to remove the marker. And as we go over this, some of you who are familiar with my cable without a cable needle technique might see some similarities. So we're going to, we're in the garter increase section here of the coastal shawl. You can see the center spine right up the middle. And we're gonna go and do our first S2KP. So we knit front and back, and we're going to knit to 2 stitches before the marker. Okay, here we are, 2 stitches before the marker. It says to slip 2 stitches together as if to knit 2 together. So we'll go in like we're knitting 2 together and we'll slip those over to our right needle. And now it says remove marker and then knit 1 and then pass the 2 slip stitches over and put the marker back. And so this is how I like to do this without actually having to pull the marker off and set it aside temporarily. I'm going to go into my next stitch as if to purl, the stitch to the left of the marker, and with my right pointer finger, I'm just going to briefly slide everything off. That's the stitch and the marker. And I'm just pinching it there. And so the marker doesn't go anywhere because I've got my finger held against it. And so really quick, I'm just going to scoop the marker back over onto the left needle. So I've now switched the place of that single stitch and the marker, and I'll put the stitch back. And now I can finish the decrease by doing the knit 1 that's called for. And then I pass my 2 slipped stitches over. And then there we are, there's our decrease, it's in the right spot. We move the marker and we finish to the end. And the marker's now in the correct spot too. So let's do that one more time. I'm gonna finish this row here. We'll go back. We end with a knit back and front, or front and back. And then on the wrong side rows, you probably have noticed now that you're going to always be purling your center spine stitch on the wrong side rows, no matter what stitch pattern you're working. So we'll go across here. We're gonna purl this. This is our center spine on the wrong side, and knit to the end. And then we will do one more of these S2KPs. Sometimes it's just called a CDD, centered double decrease. I like S2KP because I think it's more indicative of what you're actually doing. So we're gonna knit front and back. We're back on the right side now. We're gonna knit to 2 stitches before the marker, and I'll pause and then I'll go real slow again to show you. Okay, here we are. We're ready to do the decrease. It's going to involve the next 3 stitches, which means 2 before the marker and 1 after the marker. So the marker always has to come out and get set aside temporarily, which I don't like. So this solves that. We're going to slip 2 as if to knit 2 together, slip those over. We'll scoop in as if to purl our next stitch, and we're going to slide the stitch and the marker off the needle temporarily, scoop the marker right back on, put the stitch on, then we knit it. We pass this 2 slip stitches over. There's our beautiful centered double decrease. Move the marker and off we go. So I hope that you find this helpful. I certainly did. I think this is probably the first pattern I've done with a centered double decrease like that around a marker where I didn't actually pull the marker off because I figured this hack out. So I hope that it's helpful for you as well. Thanks.